Morning, everybody. How are you doing? Man, what a day it's going to be. Oh, man, JW, good to see you. Brain broke, need coffee. Well, that's good to see, JW. At least you're around and kicking. It's a good thing. We always need that coffee. That's right, sure, Frank Otter. 11:30 in the morning, UK. Love when you can catch it live. Nice. Thank you, Lemon Honey, for coming by, and I appreciate you so much. Shadow Grey Wolf, 45 hazelnut coffee for you in the morning. Okay. I I I, I hope people like the flavored coffee. I'm not too big into the flavored coffees. Just straight up caffeine. If it had hazelnut in it, okay. Oh, good morning, Sir Frank Otter. Mickey D, good to see you. Jariah, hit that like button, y'all. That's right. Hit that like button, slap it, smake it, make it feel good. Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Some of the stuff that the AP writes in the morning. This would have been Sunday morning that they wrote that. I pulled this up and I was like, man, here's a simple thing. Europe offers clues to solving America's maternal mortality crisis. Well, I know how you could do this. Get rid of Planned Parenthood. That'd be one way of stopping the mortality crisis. Good Lord Almighty! If you're trying to stop mortality crisis, there's a real simple way. Good morning, Glenn's right. Good evening, is he from Brisbane, Australia? Well, thank you very much. That's awesome. I'm so glad that my Aussie friends can come and join in and hang out for a short period of time. I know it's late for you guys, but you guys are awesome. Awesome Aussies. This is also top news right here. Famed Coney Island cyclone roller coaster is shut down after the mid-ride malfunction. What in the hell happened here? Looks like the 97-year-old wooden roller coaster at Luna Park was on its ascent on Thursday when ride operators took it out of service due to a damaged chain sprocket in the motor room. Wow, the operators stopped the ride and several people were removed from the roller coaster without injury. Well, that's good. Inspectors with the buildings department were at the scene Friday and issued the owners of Luna Park violations for the damaged equipment and for failure to immediately notify the department about the incident. At Luna Park, Coney Island safety is our number one priority, and ride maintenance and thorough testing happens daily before the park opens and throughout the day as necessary. The 97-year-old roller coaster is meticulously maintained and tested daily. I guess they got in trouble. I guess they got in a little trouble. That'll probably open up soon, but maybe not as good for the apple juice. So if you drink Walmart apple juice, just know that they recall apple juice in 25 states due to elevated arsenic levels. That's creepy. Drink here, have some apple juice. It'll take the thirst away permanently. God. Walmart has recalled nearly 10,000 cases. I thought it said 1,000. Ooh, 10,000 cases of apple juice sold in stores across the U.S. that found to contain potentially harmful levels of inorganic arsenic. So they did this on Friday, the August the 15th. New classification said that the affected product may temporarily cause adverse health consequences. Yeah, you think arsenic might do that? Good morning, Squid. How you doing this morning? Man, oh man. The recall applies to 9,535 cases of great value brand apple juice. Yeah, it's a great value. You can get this stuff really cheap. Lord, not just imagine they have to dispose of this stuff. How do you dispose of it? You can't just pour it into the system. It recalled the contaminated 6 packs of 8-ounce juice bottles after discovering levels of chemical contaminant that exceeded industry standards. And very low levels of inorganic arsenic are found in many food products. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I guess they're right. How are you? How far you got left to go? 120 miles from Chicago? Wow. That's a drive. That's a drive. That's 192 miles. Wow. Oh. Oh. That's crazy. So you just been on the road the whole day? Good morning, guys. Can't stay for long, but we'll leave it running. Fine weather. Have to get some gardening done. That's right. That's right. Get outside. Enjoy the weather while you can. The FDA has not shared reports of possible illnesses associated with the apple juice recall. Well, of course they wouldn't. Why would they? It's just insane. Oh, wow. What's this? Oh, Illinois Supreme Court upholds unconstitutionality of Democrats' law banning slating of candidates. Huh. I just saw this. Upheld a lower court ruling that tossed out the law barring political parties from choosing candidates for the General Assembly when they had no one to run in a primary. Huh. Two justices recused themselves from deliberations, and the court was unable to get 4 votes needed to render a valid opinion. The law, which was approved by Democrats in May, stopped the long tradition of parties slating candidates designed to help Democrats. In the November election, it effectively prevented Republicans from drafting candidates after no one appeared on the ballot in March primary. Draftees were eligible as long as they collect the required number of petition signatures by June 3rd deadline. But a Sangamon, I guess that's right, county judge ruled in June that the law unconstitutionally interfered with the right to vote, which includes accessing the ballot to stand as a candidate for office. The Illinois State Board of Elections continued to accepting petition signatures and ruled on eligibility of candidates on the ballot. Wow. They recused themselves from the high court's deliberation, but didn't say why because they got in trouble. Such decisions are a matter of judicial discretion. Justices are not required to reveal the reason, court spokesperson said. The remainder of the 7-member court divide is not possible to secure the constitutionally required concurrence of 4 judges for a decision. It added the ruling carries the same weight as one affirming the lower court opinion, but it has no value as precedent for future decisions. Jeez. So crazy. It's so crazy. I don't know about that. I'm not going to read that because that's interesting, but no. Oh boy. Oh boy. So, hey, Zach, how you doing? How you doing? Hello, Ingrid. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is insane. It is insane. The craziness coming out. Oh, we'll get to the really interesting stuff here in a little bit. Oh, Israel, Hamas, war, ceasefire, hostage talks will continue after weekend meetings didn't resolve jack squat. Go figure. The round of high-level talks in Cairo meant to bring about a ceasefire and a hostage deal to at least temporarily end the 10-month war in Gaza. Well, somebody already said how this could end. You know, there could be a ceasefire, and the idea is that they're trying to say these aren't going to work. The official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the talks said lower-level working teams will remain in Cairo to meet with mediators, the United States, Qatar, and Egypt in hopes of addressing remaining disagreements. There's one disagreement. Stop launching rockets into our country. You know, that's what Israel said. Hey, stop launching rockets. We'll leave you guys alone. But no, they're not going to do that. So that's where they're at right now. They're not going to have a ceasefire until Iran and Hamas are stopped permanently. They've already said how this is going to go. The head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency, Hamas delegation, was briefed by Egyptian Qatari mediators, but did not take directly part in those negotiations. And see, this right here tells you right there. Hezbollah claimed to hit an Israeli military intelligence site near Tel Aviv as part of a barrage of hundreds of rockets and drones, and Israel claimed its dozens of strikes had been preemptive to avert a larger attack, and neither offered any evidence of what's going on. Flights diverted as air raid sirens wail. Of course, it's funny that they would talk about Joe Biden is closely monitoring events in Israel and Lebanon. He can't even monitor events here in the United States. So it's like, okay. Also, return the hostages alive if they are. Yeah, that would be one of the things that they want to have done. But of course they have to claim some sort of win. They say all-out war apparently averted now. Not true. It's been all-out war. It's been constant. Hezbollah, which fought Israel to a stalemate in 2006. See? That's all it was a stalemate. That right there is what they call a ceasefire. And as they said, Israel has vowed a crushing response to any major Hezbollah attack. It has an extensive multi-tiered missile defense system, is backed by U.S.-led coalition that helped it shoot down hundreds of missiles and drones fired from Iran earlier this year. As they said, stop attacking and we will stop responding. The U.S. and other mediators see a ceasefire in Gaza as a key to averting a wider Mideast war. Hezbollah said it will halt its strikes on Israel if there is a ceasefire. Really? Because that's not what they've been saying. You might want them to do that, but that's not what they've been. Actions speak louder than words. She hasn't slipped for a while, but doing pretty good. Also, return of the hostages. Yeah. Can't even monitor his own. Oh, I thought you said his own. I thought it said onion. I was like, why is he monitoring an onion? Damn, but I need to. My eyes are a little blurry this morning. Good morning, Elka. How you doing? Oh, man. Crazy, 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 crazy garbage. And of course, you can blame Biden and Camel Toe for this stuff. You can blame them all about this garbage. Now, as much and of course, you know, the AP has to get ahead of this story. And the way that they get ahead of these kinds of stories, Trump is expected to tie Harris to the chaotic Afghanistan war withdrawal on the 3rd anniversary of the attack. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to tie her to it because she's tied to it. It's been the Biden-Harris the whole damn 3.5 years. She's the same person that she was 3 years ago. She was the same person 6 years ago. Just because her political espousing is changed slightly, you still have to remember that she wanted to make sure that men can be in women's restrooms and in the military, that was okay. 3 years ago, they were promoting, you know, that was more important of how many gay moms you had as opposed to an actual fighting military. No major malfunctions here. Hope you are well. I am well. I am very well. So she's the sitting vice president. She's the candidate of change. How Harris is having it both ways. Well, she's not. I mean, that's the thing. She's not having it both ways. That's been called out multiple times. She's the sitting vice president who's been in office for 3.5 years. She's also the candidate. Just 5 weeks of promising a new way forward. Oh, gonna be the same. Camel toe is having it both ways as she hits the campaign trail. No, she's not. She's being called out all of the time. Who rails against politics of the past? But she is part of the past. She is what the future is going to be. She's taking credit for parts of Joe Biden's records and allies staged in front of Air Force Two while casting herself as a new leader who rails against the politics of the past, the policies of the past. Because they're saying politics of the past. No, she's saying the policies were bad policies, and she's going to change all that whenever she gets in. She can't do it now. I mean, that'd just be too much. She has a powerful and unique, interesting advantage that we've never seen before in our politics. No, we've seen this before. Now, he may have not seen this before because he's just a part of a Democrat-leaning think tank. He's just like former executive of the DNC under Obama. She's both an incumbent, and she's been able to seize the change banner away from Donald Trump. No, actually, she has not been able to seize that from Donald Trump at all. She hasn't seized jack squat. Harris's vision for the country has leaned heavily on Biden's plans to the point of rewriting those plans even after Biden dropped out. No, she hasn't changed anything. Her presentation as someone offering a new way forward relies on part of being someone's different from the norm. Well, she's not different. She's the same thing. 2/3 of Democrats wanted Biden to drop out before the debate. And they're saying after the debate. No, it got worse even after the debate, which crystallized long-standing. I mean, they just threw him. This is a coup. Good Lord. White Harris, the Republican pollster, said Harris's ability to embody change has a lot more to do with her age, her race, and her gender than it has to do with any policy petitions that she's articulated. That shouts change. Well, you're a pollster. Who gives a crap what you think? And the view of her aides, Harris is offering what voters, why don't they call her camel toe? Voters seem to be having the craving all the year, the new messenger, but this one offering a modest evolution of the things of the past. She is your own leader, of course, says Brian Nelson, a senior campaign policy advisor. But she's the leader who's been a partner to President Biden these last 3.5 years. They have shared values and principles. No, they don't. They're horrible. Yes, I saw that too. She's using the border wall in her new campaign ads to paint her as tough on the border. Yeah. I know, that's what I saw too. Oh, we'll get to those later. It's crazy. The Trump campaign has attacked her lack of policy specifics and tried to portray her as someone more liberal than she's letting on. Well, you don't have to because she is. If you think it's been bad for the past 3.5 years, it's going to be the same thing 3.5 years. It's going to be the same thing. Harris's campaign announced Sunday it raised $82 million during the week of the DNC and a staggering $540 million since Biden quit the race. Yeah, he didn't endorse her. And that was like, good Lord. Trump will continue to try to stick to Harris. Well, sort of like a bad venereal wart. It just doesn't go away. It just goes dormant. Sorry, that was bad. A new tough on the border commercial using pictures. Yeah, on Trump's wall. I know. It looks really, really bad. Looks really bad. Harris confirmed to CNN on August 21st she was the so-called last person in the room when Biden made his decision to withdraw. Yeah, because everybody else was chased out of there. So she put a gun to his head and said, "Hey, sucker, you're going to give it up. Yeah, give it up for me. Don't make me come over there. Do something that you'll regret." Shit. Oh, my God. You know, it's so bad. It's so bad that you see these kinds of things happen in politics. It's just like, and you know, they're going to have to do everything. The AP has been doing everything they can possibly do to take away from what happened over the weekend. They're gonna continuously pound on this because well, RFK, which has been a part of the DNC for the longest time, up until the point that they wouldn't back him. So he left it and became independent. And then he offered to throw his support to camel toe if they offered him a position in their new administration. And you know what they told him? Nah, we got this. Because he's been calling out their lies for so long that it really probably was like, yeah, we can't have someone, that is like that. Besides, we've got like your aunts and nieces and nephews to talk crap about you. So yeah, you go ahead. This is a president who has an extraordinary amount of courage. No, she is not brave. She is not bold. I wish the American public could see sometimes what I see. Yeah. No, we don't want to see that. Because ultimately the decision always rests with him. And I've seen him over and over again make decisions based exactly on what he believes is right, regardless of what maybe the political people tells him is in his best interest. They've been telling him everything to do that. He actually said that wasn't true. He never asked for a position in the administration. He gave Kamala the same offer as he gave Trump. That's cool. That's cool. And I like to hear that. I just know that they've claimed that he gave them an offer and they turned it down. Voters said the former Obama aide Dan Pfeiffer are thirsting for new, more hopeful politics. Well, they didn't have any more new or hopeful politics. Voters said former Dan Pfeiffer are thirsty for new hopeful politics. Oh God! If she can prove to people that she can turn the page, then camel toe Harris will win. But here's the thing. She's tied to things like what happened 3 years ago. This right here. Kabul airport attacks. Killed 60 Afghans and 13 U.S. troops. 2 suicide bombers and gunmen attacked crowds of Afghans flocking to Kabul's airport Thursday. This was on August 26, 2020. This was the top news story at the time. We watched as people overcrowded and tried to leave the country because of the horrible way that everything was withdrawn out of there. The U.S. general overseeing the evacuation said the attacks would not stop the United States from evacuating, and the flights out were continuing. General Frank McKenzie, head of the U.S. Central Command, said there was a large amount of security at the airport and alternate routes were being used to get evacuees out. About 5,000 people were awaiting flights on the airfield. The blast came hours after Western officials warned of a major attack. No, it was days. They knew this was going to happen. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the killings on its AMAC news channel. The IS affiliate in Afghanistan is far more radical than the Taliban, who recently took control of the country in a lightning blitz. The Taliban were not believed to have been involved in the attacks and condemned blast. What did they find out? And this right here is not true. This is what Trump said. If you come after or attack or pulling out, we will not forget. We will come for you. Because Biden pulled out, and it was months before he said anything about this. He caused this issue. The Biden-Harris administration caused this to happen and then shunned those soldiers' families. Shunned the hell out of them. Once the bombers struck people standing knee-deep in wastewater canal under the sweltering sun, those moments earlier I'd hoped to get on flights but could be seen carrying the wounded to ambulances in a daze, their own clothes darkened with blood. We've seen the images. We've seen the images of the people that were trying to leave, that were just mowed down. We saw the way that this went down. We've seen the pictures of the way that the Afghan people were treated whenever. And that doesn't include the people that were helping out U.S. troops throughout the entire war. Those people got left behind. There were Americans that were left behind there. These were just the 13 soldiers. And they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to bring that up, how much of a failure that this was. One of the first acts as president was for Biden and Harris to come in there, get rid of every single thing that Trump had done to keep peace throughout this area. And they doubled down and said, we're going to do what we want to do. Despite all the warning, they still did it anyway. The Taliban has been screening people outside the gates, though there was no indication that the Taliban deliberately allowed Thursday's attacks to happen. He said that the Taliban commanders to tighten security around the airport's perimeter. They literally have been trying to get out of Afghanistan. There were Americans still there. There were people that helped the Americans that were still there. And they were abandoned. This day in 2021, our troops left Afghanistan. We lost 13 of them and numerous others that helped the Americans were hunted down. And the U.S. has said nothing. There's not been any response. None. In Washington, Biden spent much of the morning in the White House Situation Room where he was briefed on the explosions and conferred with his national security team and commanders of the ground on Kabul. Late Wednesday, the U.S. Embassy warned citizens at 3 airport gates to leave immediately due to unspecified security threat. Nadia Sadat, a 27-year-old, carried her 2-year-old daughter with her outside the airport. She and her husband, who had worked with the coalition forces, missed a call from a number they believed was a State Department. They were trying to get into the airport without any luck. Her husband had pressed ahead in the crowd to try to get them inside. We have to find a way to evacuate because our lives are in danger. My husband received several threatening messages from unknown sources, and we have no chance except escaping. What happened to Nadia Sadat? What happened to these people? What happened to these people that were so brave to help American forces? And you can thank Joe Biden, Camel Toe Harris. They were in charge when this happened. It was them that pulled out such a horrible fashion. But she doesn't want to take responsibility for that. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no. You never take responsibility. Just like this guy right here. Walt's exit from Minnesota National Guard left openings for critics to pounce on his military record. Well, he's a shit. He knew what was going to happen. He knew that they were going to be leaving the country. He was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. John Kolb, a retired Minnesota National Guard colonel, knew Tim Walz by reputation as an excellent leader. Nobody disagrees that he probably did not do it. He probably did do a good job while he was in the military. It was his leaving that's a little suspicious. Who adroitly guided the enlisted troops in his field artillery battalion, but Kolb was stunned what he saw when Walz left the military and entered politics. Walz retired from the National Guard in 2005 to run for Congress just before his unit received an order to mobilize for the war in Iraq. Then during the campaign, Walz overstated the rank he held at the point he left the service. That's not the behavior I would expect out of a senior NCO. The two sides of Walz's service have been in the spotlight now that the Minnesota governor is of the Democrat nominee for vice president. Supporters have lauded Walz's 24 years of service in the National Guard. He enlisted through the ranks and received an honorable discharge. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. What I know about Tim Walz is he did his job diligently. Never said he didn't. He was in charge of troops under him, and he made sure they were taken care of. No one is disputing that. Republicans have seized on the criticism by veterans as a major line of attack on Walz on the Democrat nominee, Kamala Harris. Some of that criticism, like Kolb, is measured. Others offer harsher appraisals. Republicans don't have to turn Walz's military career into a liability. He already did that whenever he left and continued to state that he was something that he was not. To continue stating he was somewhere that he was not. The vetting process, Walz, leaves you scratching your head. He's been under fire for this since he started running. Yeah, ever since he ran for. As soon as he ran in politics, this right here is what was brought up about him. And see, they show this photo as if that's supposed to be Walz. That's not Walz. This right here is the Guard Command Sergeant Major. This was the Command Sergeant Major that Walz was supposed to be. Walz was never a Command Sergeant Major. He is stolen valor. And as Wallstrom said, he was never a coach. He was a coach's assistant or assistant coach. Whatever. Same thing. Assistant coach. Yeah. It's far from clear whether Republicans can turn it into a liability. They don't need to. And Trump has never stated anything that he's not done. See, here's the thing. A deferment means nothing. He's never said that he's served whenever he has it. Stolen valor is completely different. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, was a Marine Corps corporal, including 6 months as a military journalist in Iraq, and he's always claimed that. After 4 years, he left the military for college and later a career in venture capital as a best-selling author. Vance has left the criticism of Walz, as he should. For many Democrats, the GOP salvos are an eerie reprise of the tactics used to sully their 2004 candidate, John Kerry. Well, John Kerry proved to be a piece of garbage again and again. Walz is an E. An E? Okay. He's an idiot. Even though Kerry was a decorated combat veteran, yeah, he was decorated with 3 Purple Hearts, and that's how he got out. Yeah, they his crew had a lot of stuff to say. Waltz across Texas, you an embellisher, yes. Waltz embellishes on things that he hasn't done. An Associated Press review of Walz's statements as a congressional candidate, congressman, and governor shows that Walz has toggled between being precise and careless about key details. Okay. Either you're precise or you're not. And George W. Bush didn't ever state that he fought in a war. That's the problem that these idiots don't understand. Never claimed that he has. Walz has claimed that, that he knows about PTSD because, well, whenever he was in Afghanistan, oh, that's right. Yeah, the news doesn't want to tell you him talking about that. That's the crazy part. After 24 years of military service, retired in 2005 and ran for Congress, where he's a tireless advocate for our men and women in uniform. And as Vice President of the United States, he will continue to be a relentless champion for our veterans and military families. Well, I would agree that he probably would be an advocate, being that he did serve, and he served honorably. It was what he did afterwards that people are questioning. And this is what he said. In 2006, as he campaigned to unseat the sixth-term Republican incumbent in Minnesota's first congressional district. But he wasn't. Never retired command sergeant major. Because whenever he retired, he was just downgraded to command sergeant. Or sergeant major, sorry. He was downgraded to sergeant major. It means they took the rank away from him because he didn't complete the coursework and he never served. I'm not mistaken. Those are the two requirements for that. I don't know because my rank was never that high. Okay, same people praising Bush now as good Republican leader, the same ones crying about swift voting Walz, even though that was the Bush Republicans. And I would say that Bush did some good, but he wasn't all that. Bush did some good, but he wasn't all that. And in comparison, in contrast of what the latter would have been, yeah, I think he did a better job than what we currently had. Yeah. They have enough fornication plan. Oh yeah. Yes. That distinction, serving as a command sergeant major but not retiring in that position, may seem minor to civilians, but to those who actually served, it's called stolen valor. Known as an E9 in military parlance, a command sergeant major is the pinnacle of achievement in the Army's enlisted corps. Command sergeant majors are the backbone of a unit, acting as mentors, disciplinarians to the enlisted troops, and trusted advisors to their commanding officers. Sergeant majors often stay in their units for long stretches, providing a deep well of institutional knowledge. Commissioned officers typically move on to new posts every few years. There's a reason why there's so much angst among the military members that may be lost on the best of the population. The rank of command sergeant major, that E9 rank, is sacred, it's rare, and if you claim it, then you have had to have been. Now, Walz was sergeant major of the Minnesota's 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery for less than a year. Well, he was command sergeant major for less than a year. According to the Guard's personnel office, his rank was reduced for purposes to a master sergeant, a step below. Yeah. When he left the Guard because Walz had not completed all the coursework necessary to hold the rank in retirement. Facing the question about his record, the Harris campaign replaced the phrase "a retired command sergeant major" from Walz's online biography with wording that says he served as one. But Walz's official biography for the website is still misleading. The biography placed retired from a Guard battalion after the phrase Command Sergeant Major Walz. He's a retired Master Sergeant, Kolb said, and that's what he should say. But he can't help it. Some of us are wearing clothes. Now, if if I were to put Bush and Biden next to each other and say what one was better, yeah, Bush would win, but he is no Eisenhower. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. No, not even close. I always chat naked. There's a reason why I don't stand up during my streams. But it's amazing to me that they've got this long statement about what he is, about how great he is. And he's not. This is the thing. Walt's 24-year service is substantial. He could have retired almost 3 years early, but the circumstances surrounding the retirement and how it overlapped with his political ambitions have drawn scrutiny. Yes. Because, see, that's the thing. If he had been in for 26 years, what would it have taken for another 4 years? That would have been a 30-year retirement. He could have retired a command sergeant major, but you have to understand, he knew his troops were going to another country. He knew that fall what was happening, and yet he bailed out. He bailed. He couldn't hang with it. He bailed out. They're going to try to make him look like he's this wonderful. Oh, he did so much while he was there. Sure, he did. But it's the stolen valor that people are pissed off about. You know, if he said that he was a master sergeant, he retired a master sergeant, they wouldn't have any problem with it. It's that command sergeant major that he's been putting up there. Yes, Bush was a war hawk who adopted leftist domestic policy. Absolutely. But also look at who he was going up against. Yeah, Bush rode on his father's coattails to do something. Yeah. I mean, these are all politicians. That's what makes Trump much different than the rest of them, is he's not a politician. he is now. He is now. But yeah, it's crazy. Hey, Toy, how you doing? Hubby retired as a master sergeant. Congratulations to him. That's awesome. When you went to Iraq, First Sergeant boiled us on the trip there. Bailed on it. Oh, the First Sergeant bailed on us the trip there. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Good morning. What I want to do is I've got to get coffee. My coffee's gone cold. If your coffee goes cold, what do? You get some more. Get some more coffee. Got to stay awake because I got another couple of stories that I want to share with you guys. This is crazy. This is going to be a crazy week. We all know. So in about 10 seconds, I am going to kick over to the coffee getting song. All right, here we go.
Sandy shores get a tan, Rambo the orangutan. Driving a golf cart, old man Rambo is half crazy, yes he can. Well, that SOB's a sight to F and see. Oh, Rambo's rolling, as the sun he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling, as the sun he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is, well, that is too dirty to say here. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is a... That is too dirty to say here, Oh, Rambo's rolling, As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Otters in the surf, hummingbirds in the sky. Rambo honks the horn and spits in Shizzy's eye. Oh my! Oh, Rambo's rolling, As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the wave. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand, Otter, it probably wasn't nice. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the waves. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand, Otter, it probably wasn't nice. Oh, Rambo's rolling, As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an epic blast. So here's to Rambo, Otters, and...
All right. Well, sorry about that. I've been trying to get all this stuff organized. You know, I sent out invites, but I never hit enter. Such an idiot. Oh my gosh. So as we know, Walz is a shits. pretty straightforward. But just imagine you're NASA. Just imagine you're being NASA at this point. NASA's decision against you using a Boeing capsule to bring astronauts back adds to the company's problems. You think Boeing's got some problems? You should see the lawsuit. I've read it. It's crazy. It is absolutely batshit crazy. The stuff that they know about these 747s, oh my Lord. It's crazy. NASA's announcement Saturday that it won't use the troubled Boeing capsule to return two stranded astronauts to Earth is yet another setback for the struggling company, although the financial damage is likely to be less than the reputational harm. Once a symbol of American engineering and technological prowess, Boeing has seen its reputation battered since two 737 MAX airliners crashed in 18 and 19, killing 346 people. The safety of its products came under renewed scrutiny after a panel blew out of a MAX's during its flight this January. That doesn't include the engines and all the other issues that's been having, landing gear. And now NASA's decided it's safer to keep the astronauts in space until February rather than rescuing Boeing's Starliner capsule that delivered them to the International Space Station. The capsule has been plagued by problems with its propulsion system. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said the decision to send Boeing capsule back to Earth empty is a result of commitment to safety. Boeing had insisted Starliner was safe based on its recent tests and thrusters in both space and on the ground. The space capsule program presented a tiny fraction of Boeing's revenue, but carried astronauts as a high-profile job, like Boeing's work building Air Force One presidential jets. What did I tell you guys? There is stuff going on with airplanes, and it's coming sooner than I thought. I didn't realize it was going to be space planes, but hey, I wasn't wrong. The whole thing is another black eye. Boeing has lost more than $25 billion since 2018. Its aircraft analysis. Since then, blah, 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 Boeing, blah, 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 Air Force One. The company recorded a $1 billion loss. We had to do a couple of fixed price. Boeing, regulatory flying, blah, 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 blah. You know what they don't tell you? You know what they don't tell you? What they don't tell you is who they're going to be using to bring these astronauts back. You know why? Because they don't want to give the guy any credit whatsoever. They are using SpaceX, Elon's company, to bring them back home. The AP never reported that on that at all. Imagine they're not. Right. And that's even being reported by everybody except for the AP. Two astronauts who've been stranded on the International Space Station for weeks will be coming home, but not until next year. That's because they won't be returning on Boeing's spaceship that took them into orbit. Instead, the plan is now have one of Boeing's competitors, SpaceX, bring them back. NASA announced this decision. Yeah. That right there is what happened. That right there is what happened. And that was announced 2 days ago, but the AP still hasn't changed or updated them at all. And what does this do for Tesla stock, which is part of SpaceX? Yeah, that right there is sort of a kick in the nuts for Boeing. That is a real kick in the nuts for Boeing. Which means that there's going to be some stock going up here pretty soon. Because it seems to me that Boeing's defense division has recently won some huge contracts. It's lined up to provide Apache helicopters to foreign governments, sell F-15 fighter jets to Israel as a bulk of a $20 billion deal, and build prototype surveillance planes for the Air Force under a $2.56 billion contract. That's why the AP isn't saying anything about it. Hey, Puddletown, good to see you. Good to see you, Toy. Anybody else that I missed, I'm sorry if I didn't recognize. I'm early. I don't usually notice the chat as much as normal. Doggone it. But yes, this is the kind of thing that they want to talk about. They're not going to let people know. This is SpaceX. SpaceX is taking over, bringing people back to Earth. It wouldn't surprise me if they say, yeah, we can get this done earlier too. Knowing how Elon is. Say, yeah, we can have them out really quick. Oh boy, this is crazy. Let's see. Same news that I saw that I've been reporting on. Oh God. Oh boy. Let me see here. This one I can't show that one. But I can show you a person that deserves so much more than the gratitude he's received from all you people. It's a portrait of a protester. Outside the Democrat convention, a young man talks of passion and plans. So, a bearded, bespectacled Y.M. Masood is a quiet nature that suggests he's older than the age of 20. He's a poli-sci major. He plans to graduate from college in December. Well, good luck. He's a student of the University of Illinois of Chicago. He's taken to the city streets in recent months for pro-Palestinian rallies, often weekly and twice in the same day. It's number one right now for Masood. Last spring, he also traveled by train to go to the University of Chicago, Northwestern, and DePaul universities. Well, what is it about this kid that's so important? Well, for him, the journey is personal. How is it personal? Do you want to know how it's personal for him? Because he's Muslim, but of Indian descent. So, Palestine, Israel here, India here. Like, how is it personal? It's better to act out plans instead of talking about them, unless they're stupid plans. Talk away, don't act. Yeah, I have stupid plans all the time. He's known as the guy who drapes himself in red or black. What is that? Kafka, Keefe? I don't know. Wraps himself like an idiot. He thinks that it's a symbol of solidarity. Makes him look like an idiot. It's no different than the metrosexuals who are wearing little throat warmers. That's why I like to call them, because they just gobble down choke down the man meat. My parents are kind of worried about him, but it feels like at this point I realize what I also do. They're not totally against it. If I were to get arrested, that would likely change. Who cares? That's the thing. He doesn't want to get arrested because why? Once recent college graduate complained about her parents' weird liberal logic when the Democrat friends were coming over. She said they asked to take down a painted sheet she'd hung out her bedroom, decrying that she and many others called a genocide. They didn't want it to be the focus of conversation. Yeah. See, this is the problem with these idiots. Idiots like this kid right here. They want to have it all, but they don't want to pay for it. Here's the thing. Stand for what you believe in what you stand for, and also be willing to accept the repercussions of those beliefs. If not, then you're just a LARPer like this kid. And that's really all I have to say. He's just LARPing. That's it. He shows up and he's so worried about things that are going on in the Middle East, and he's so far distanced from the Middle East that has nothing to do with it. Those students are not pro-Palestinian. No, they're not pro-Palestinian. No, they're just anti-Israel. There's a big difference. There's a big difference because this has been one of the biggest movements to happen inside of. Hey, stop chewing your feet, you crazy little dog. Yeah, he's crazy. I can't help it. He sits there and chews on his feet like he's got issues. The problem is with a lot of these students, they're into this, what they call divest. And what they're talking, whenever they talk about divesting, it's any company, any college, any place that receives any sort of money from Israel. Like, let's see, Boeing, for example, would be receiving money from Israel. Ukraine would be receiving money. All of these places, they are telling colleges to divest. College brainwash, paid protesters. Yeah, they don't even know what they're going for. Yeah, he says he feels energized that Stein and the Green Party aren't considered contenders for any presidency, but his first presidential vote is a protest too. Whoever wins will be out there in the streets like how we were today. No matter if it's Democrat or Republican, we will always be protesting for the people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't worry. You'll see Camel Toe's outlook change here. Yeah, she is no different. The only reason that she's not on the attack for Israel is because she knows that would sink her chances almost immediately. But we've seen how she has been acting what her outlook has been on everything. It's not good. It's not good. That's one thing that warm coffee does, is it just loosens up those throat muscles. In boosting clean energy in Minnesota. This is Walz lays foundation for climate influence if Harris wins. Mm-hmm. He strode on stage to welcome conference of clean power advocates in Minneapolis in May. He was quick to note that his state is now getting a little over half its power from renewables. In the next breath, Walz said Minnesota would never get to 100%, a goal he helped set without changing what he called outdated permitting laws. No. Minnesota, if you want 100%, go ahead, get rid of the permitting laws. Get rid of those permitting laws. Go ahead, do it. See what happens. See how fast your state is going to get destroyed. If you thought the George Floyd riots, the ones that that Kamala Harris paid for those protesters to get out of jail, the defunding of police wasn't bad. I tell you, go for it. Go for 100% renewables. You know, one of the biggest renewable resources we have currently, and everyone says, "Oh, no, that's not renewable." It's oil. Oil is one of the largest renewable resources. Look at where oil comes from, and just know that it will continue for a long, long time. Cow flatulence, natural gas. Hell, we could even go nuclear. That's much better than this. Walz's effort to resolve a major obstacle to clean energy transition nationwide is getting attention since he was tapped. Yeah, I bet he was tapped. His experiencing and enacting such law in Minnesota could position him as a leader on climate issues. But he knows nothing of climate issues. If he becomes a VP, he could bring some of his thinking to the federal level. It's amazing to me that they want to say that renewable gets them there. I just want to point something out here. This right here, that tractor, produces more power than that. Over its lifetime, that single little bitty tractor will produce more power than that thing will over 10 lifetimes. Weird, huh? Bring back Ford's hemp car. Yeah, there you go. Best thing to use a little of each type of energy. Don't overuse, don't deplete any single resource. See, here's the thing, Wicked Psych. People fail to recognize how small and insignificant we are. Really. Think about this. You know, give it a good, long, hard thought. How small and insignificant we are in our impact on this planet. It's not what they tell you. As much as they like to tell you these things, these are lies made to get you to join their little cult. All you have to do is just grab yourself a boat, head out to the ocean, and go out in the middle of nowhere, and you'll find how small and insignificant you really are. We're small. In the grand scheme of things, we are so small, so tiny, so insignificant that it doesn't even register. I mean, think about the size of Alaska. Just compare. Just take the size of Alaska and lay it out across the United States, like the regular part of the United States. It's not just some little location up on the top of the map. The size of Alaska is enormous, and there's oil fields there that the government owns that won't let you drill on. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that they won't allow you to drill on them? You want to see how true it is for these folks. If you want to know what your politicians do, there you go. Listen to this. Former Democratic campaign worker speaks out after attending the DNC. You want to find out about him? Here, listen to this. This is 5 minutes of telling you exactly what you probably already knew.
Okay, I'm gonna get real in this, and it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I'm okay with that, because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer, and when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more and more disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now, I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes. And I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns. And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on. Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls. They still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values. When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out of touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech, and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity. And what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world. I thought I was part of the anti war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now. How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he's absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever. And I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president. I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore. I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her. And for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
There you go. Rather laugh at platypuses. Government won't drill in Anwar because they bought out by the EPA. Growing up in Alaska and living there for 36 years, I know for a fact AK is one of the most ecological states. Just look at the pipeline wildlife thriving there. Platypi. Platypusin? Exactly. Welcome to politics. That half duck, half beaver. Oh. Half chicken. She needs blue hair for fun. Yeah. But this is what they're failing to recognize. And you think it's going to be any better. You think it's going to be any better. Here, this is right out of Tim Walz's mouth, his own mouth.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
See? Right from his own mouth. If you want to see what they stand for, there you go. You want to see what really, these are things that they don't allow you. The AP won't talk about. Right, this right here.
What I'm saying is Hamas is a criminal enterprise.
Sure.
Yes. The Palestinian, and you talk about solutions for the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people are arguably the most pampered people by international aid organizations in the history of the world. Are you kidding me? No,
even before this war, 78% of people in Gaza said they had, not enough food to eat.
Right. And why is that? Why are you blaming Israel?
In part, it's Hamas, and in part, it's the fact that Israel imposed a blockade and talked about putting them on a diet.
If your neighbor, first of all, Israel has no obligation. Israel built 3,000 hothouses and gave them for greenhouses. That would have made Gaza completely food self-sufficient, gave it to them as a gift, offered to rebuild the port of Gaza to make it the Singapore of the West. Hamas said, no, we don't want Jew money. We don't want Jew ideas. And what do? The international aid agencies have given Gaza more than 10 times the per capita what we gave to rebuild all of Europe after the Marshall Plan. They've gotten $8,300 per capita, every person in Gaza. We rebuilt Europe with $621 per capita in Europe, and we rebuilt it. What do they do with that money? Instead of using it to make this, Gaza is this beautiful country, white sand beaches, it should be a paradise. Hamas said, we don't want that. They take virtually all of that money and they steal it. So the top 5 guys, the top 5 leaders of Hamas are billionaires. Ismail Haniyeh has $5 billion, according to Forbes.
But Bobby, again,
wait, let me just finish. No, because you made us,
Hamas.
You are making a statement that is just wrong. It's not Israel's fault that Gaza is poverty-stricken. Gaza should be one of the wealthiest states on the Mediterranean.
They have no control over their own territory.
Of course,
Israel
if you go to war,
everything that comes in and goes out.
If you go to war, no, Crystal, why are you blaming?
On.
Why do you insist on blaming Israel rather than blaming Hamas?
I do blame Hamas, but you know what else, Bobby? Our tax dollars do not go to Hamas. They go to
Yes,
the
they do.
And why? And you know what?
Our tax dollars don't go directly to Hamas, but they go to Hamas through proxies, just like our tax dollars don't go to Ukraine. They do by proxy.
22,000
You know
which are
most-
bombed, dropped on the
You know
civilian
what?
population right
You
now.
know what most of our tax dollars have gone for? For the Iron Dome, which is a way of not invading Gaza. Our country and Israel for 16 years have expended this huge amount of money to try not to go into Gaza, while Gaza sent 2,000 rockets a year, suicide bombers, and of course Israel's
And how many times has Israel come in and quote unquote mowed the lawn?
They've gone in 5 times, and every time they've signed a peace agreement with Hamas, and every time they violated that peace agreement. Let me just.
Israel also has been
why
killing
are you-
Palestinians in West Bank. But hold on.
Listen,
I want to move
if
forward.
Mexico attacked us and we built a fence, would you blame us for caging in Mexico? Well, I don't know what it is, but everything in your mind is telling you to blame Israel
Bobby.
instead of blaming Hamas.
There is why the RNC was so far against any of it. You want to see one of the greatest trolls? One of the greatest trolls during the DNC. You want to see one of the greatest trolls on the DNC? This guy right here. This guy is hilarious.
Would you rather have a democracy or access to abortions?
Either or. I feel like that's a very tough question to answer. I feel like that's almost not possible to answer. I feel like I couldn't pick one or the other.
Even if you had to choose?
I had to choose.
Can we get a final answer? I know it's hard.
I guess access to abortions.
It's Brad Summer! The queen of the brats has arrived! Yes, queen!
Do not come.
Are you as hard as I am right now? She's something special. Can we please, this year, it'd be so brat, have a higher tax rate for rich white men?
Well, if we have a Democratic Congress, we certainly will.
Yeah, baby. Tax those rich old whiteys. Come on. Are you worried Donald Trump's going to weaponize the justice system if he gets in power?
I'm concerned about Project 2025.
Yeah.
And it's important that individuals understand that Project 2025 basically consolidates power in the hands of one dangerous man.
Yeah.
And so it's really critically
Start
important.
prosecuting his political enemies.
Exactly.
Guys, I have to say, you are even more beautiful in person.
Oh, I love him. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Give me your best pickup line.
My best pickup line, I'll pay.
Who are the cuties in the Democratic Party that are speaking?
Oh, I don't know. Talk to anyone who lives in DC. It's hard to find a cute Democrat.
Oh my God, shots fired.
No, that's the tea. Ask anyone who lives in DC and who works in Democratic politics. It's hard to find the cute ones.
The Republican guys are hotter.
Yeah, but they're evil. So, I don't know.
We kind of love evil. Oh my God. You are so bad. It's time to call it the red carpet, the blue carpet, because the conservatives have literally no cool famous people. What do you eat after a long day at Congress? Did you get your vasectomy yet?
No.
Oh, it's going to be a wild weekend, baby. Tim Walz has the best shot in Congress. Who has the best back shot? One final game. Yes, queen or no queen. Okay.
I'll give you a yes or no. How about that?
Okay.
Amazing.
Can you do yes, queen or no queen? Or?
I can't do that.
Oh, really? Free abortions.
Yes, queen.
Free gender affirming care for migrants.
Yes, queen.
Child tax credits for dogs.
Yes, queen.
Ban standardized testing.
Yes, queen.
Oh, yeah, like my ADD is so crazy. Get rid of those things, please.
Yes, queen. Yeah.
Amazing. Different tax rate for white men.
Yes, queen.
Amen, sister. Love you. Love her energy. She's a yes queener. My girlfriend needs to get an abortion. Could you help me cover it up? Please? I need help. I need to do it like discreet way. Oh. Asshole. Romeo, we're for out there, Romeo.
Sorry.
Romeo, we're for out there, Romeo. Who do you think has a bigger lightsaber? Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
I mean, come on. Really?
And what's the best way a guy could approach you?
Approach me, I guess, with a microphone and a couple of a seersucker suit, a microphone, and my daughter.
Could I be a good stepdad? So some Gen Z doubters of Kamala have noted her record persecuting people for weed. I'm a stoner. I use it for PTSD. Do you think that era is so over? She's so over that?
I think that even in the period of the Biden-Harris administration, they have been working very hard in order to say no.
What about like Coke and stuff?
Excuse me?
What about like Coke?
In her, I would have to look at it, but
decriminalize the drugs, baby.
Thank you, sir.
Coke for the boys.
Thank you.
Another old white guy, all right? Is Kamala so us?
She's so us because she's brat. Kamala
Yeah,
is brat.
she is so brat. What does brat mean?
Brat is like you're like a party girl, but like you go out at really late at night and like you fall asleep with all your makeup on. And
I have to love Kamala being in a menage a trois at one point.
Oh, this guy killed me. Oh man.
Oh, laugh ever.
Oh my God, she has the best laugh.
Joy.
Rosie.
We love joy. We're all about joy.
Go Kamala.
Okay, how do we guarantee equity of joy?
Equity of joy will flow forth from Kamala. It's just a given and part of her.
Oh, we are manifesting.
It's coming to
People
you.
say vibes don't matter, but we are manifesting our nation.
It to you.
Oh, we have a woman of color, and we also have Tim Walz. What a great example for the body positive community. What do you think Tim Walz can be as an inspiration for body positive people?
A young man came to him and said, we want to have a gay club here at our high school. And he said, I'm going to lead that because I need to be
He's like a gay leader.
Good morning, King Paco. Is he for real? No, he's trolling the hell out of him. He is trolling the ever-living Jesus out of him. Oh man. It's funny whenever these people troll themselves.
They didn't know what they were talking about. We know we're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win. Others are winning the whole country. 10.
They troll themselves. They call themselves cold and reptilian. I mean, come on. You can't. They troll themselves constantly. Oh my God. Here. Let's hear a little more of RFK. There you go.
In Chicago, a string of Democratic speakers mentioned Donald Trump 147 times just on the first day. Who needs a policy when you have Trump to hate? In contrast, at the RNC convention, President Biden was mentioned only twice in 4 days. I do interviews every day. Many of you have interviewed me. Anybody who asks gets to interview me. Some days I do as many as 10. President Trump, who actually was nominated and won an election, also does interviews daily. How did the Democratic Party choose a candidate that has never done an interview or debate during the entire election cycle? We know the answers. They did it by weaponizing the government agencies. They did it by abandoning democracy. They did it by suing the opposition and by disenfranchising American voters. What most alarms me isn't how the Democratic Party conducts its internal affairs or runs its candidates. What alarms me is the resort to censorship and media control and the weaponization of the federal agencies. When a US president colludes with or outright coerces media companies to censor political speech, it's an attack on our most sacred right of free expression, and that's the very right upon which all of our other constitutional rights rest. President Biden mocked Vladimir Putin's 88%
I'm with you.
landslide in the Russian elections, observing that Putin and his party controlled the Russian press and that Putin prevented serious opponents from appearing on the ballot. But here in America, the DNC also prevented opponents from appearing on the ballot.
Right.
And our television networks expose themselves as Democratic Party organs. Over the course of more than a year in a campaign where my poll numbers reached at times in the high 20s, the DNC allowed mainstream media networks maintain a near perfect embargo on interviews with me. During his 10-month presidential campaign in 1992, Ross Perot gave 34 interviews on mainstream networks. In contrast, during the 16 months since I declared, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN combined gave only 2 live interviews from me. Those networks instead ran a continuous deluge of hit pieces with inaccurate, often vile, pejoratives and defamatory smears. Some of those same networks and colluded with the DNC to keep me off the debate stage.
Mm-hmm.
Representatives of those networks are in this room right now, and I'll just take a moment to ask you to consider the many ways that your institutions have abdicated.
It does happen.
Really sacred responsibility.
But he wasn't making fun of a guy with a disability. That's the thing. He was actually mocking a Democrat candidate. That's what he was mocking. It wasn't somebody with a disability. Well, I guess it was someone with a disability, a Democrat. Sorry. Yes. Zach, buenos dias, Baca. Good to see you. If you listen to him enough, you get used to his voice. It's improved from where it used to be. Yeah, it is not his fault for this. And you know that it. You notice that after that they really started to dig into him. And you know, there was people that were constantly going on the attack. And he said something very profound, pretty profound, because on August 20th, 2024, this lady right here had her right to free speech removed.
Are numerous public records requests that I have open right now that are, quote, pending legal review that I am entitled to request.
I've got to interrupt you here because.
Okay, are you going to stop the timer?
This is the public meeting forum that you agree to when you speak. And I want to read this to you, that there are oral communications during the city council meeting may not be used to lodge charges or complaints against any employee of the city or members of the body, regardless of whether such person is identified in the presentation by the name or by any other reference that tends to identify him or her.
That's all fine, well and good, but that's a violation of my First Amendment rights.
So that's, well,
yeah, it
this
is.
is your warning, okay?
A warning for what?
A warning for attacking the city attorney personally.
This is all factual
did not.
information.
It doesn't matter.
You're violating my First Amendment
this
rights.
This is what you agreed to
Stick with it.
when you first speaking. This is the form.
It is unconstitutional, Mayor Hall.
Well,
And this right here, what they're working on for the rest of you fine folks. If you're seeing this happen just in one city, Surprise, Arizona. This is what you're seeing in Surprise, Arizona. Do you think that these policies aren't going to start getting pushed forward further and further into the mainstream of politics, into the mainstream? Governor Walz has already said that that's what he plans on doing, because what is hate speech? Whatever they deem to be hate speech. This gets worse.
it's not unconstitutional.
It is.
And if you're
The Supreme Court has
gonna
upheld. I
continue-
could get up here and I could swear at you for 3 straight minutes, and it is protected
No,
speech
no, you
by the
can't.
Supreme Court. It is.
No, you Good.
Why don't you look at case
It's
law?
good. No, you can't.
I can.
So if you want to be
Also, the chair is
if you
engaged
wanna
in
be
debate,
esc-
so
do you
point
want
of
to be
order.
escorted out of here? Do you want to be escorted out
You're
of here? Or are
violating
you
my
gonna-
first.
And that right there, telling her that she's going to be escorted out because she's speaking. Monday, they can take the Canton, Massachusetts approach and go Zoom. Yeah, she doesn't like this. And she has every right to come in and say whatever she wants to. But because Surprise decided to add something into their little bylaw, and we'll get into something about that that's sort of relevant. They're taking it to the extreme and taking away her rights to free speech. Now, here's what gets worse, is because you can only go after them after the fact. You have to stand up for yourself in the moment and continuously stand up for yourself and allow these things to be shown. Because she's never going to be able to get her voice out there at all. Because she's already getting hauled off and arrested in front of her child.
First Amendment rights.
Talking.
You are violating my First Amendment rights.
That's
Yeah.
your opinion.
It's not a
Okay.
matter of
No,
opinion.
it's the opinion of the United States Supreme Court. It's a public forum. People can say whatever they want, except if you're in Surprise, Arizona. They've made it a law that you cannot say anything about your elected officials. You lose your right to redress. That's part of what they allow there. Oh, it gets. I got much worse
Want to
stuff.
be
I'm gonna show
escorted
you.
out, Miss Massey? Because that's what's going to happen. And it's going to happen in the future also. Anytime you attack
That's
any
why you changed
staff
the
member
rules.
or any
That's why you
city-
changed the rules.
This has been on the back of this form.
I understand,
all the
Mayor
time.
Hall, but that is completely unconstitutional.
No, it's
You're
not.
also engaging in debate, and so you should actually be
Anyway,
yielding the floor to somebody else
okay.
managing.
Chief, could you have somebody come down here and escort Miss Massey?
That right there, and that is using the police power of the government to attack somebody. This is a straight up attack.
Yeah,
Really? Is
it's
that
shameful.
necessary?
Yes, I
In
think
front
it
of
is.
my 10-year-old daughter, you're going to escort me
That's
out
fine.
for expressing my
She
First
can go
Amendment
with you.
rights.
She can go with you.
I'm not leaving.
Well,
well, I bet you do.
I'm expressing my first. Do not touch me. Do not put your hand.
And now she gets resisting arrest. What good is it? See, this is the thing. What good is it that she's arrested? And more than likely, they will ban her from ever being able to come back into that building again. They will arrest her if she shows back up. And this right here should never be allowed. But this is the policies that if you vote for Camel Toe, these are the kind of policies you're going to get right here. That's why you can legally resist false arrest. Of course you can. That still doesn't keep you from being thrown in jail or being able to speak. Because what happens at this point? What happens? She goes to jail. She's not allowed to come back. She's not allowed to say anything in this forum where it's recorded. And it falls on deaf ears. And if she fights it in court, she's looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. And by the time that it's resolved, this person's already moved on. The open records request, she'll never be able to get to. And it will remain this kind of way because the legal system is slow. So as much, this is the tactics of weak people. Strong leaders would debate her. Exactly. They will bog her down in cost, and she will have no way to receive anything for that compensation. Won't cost her a penny? Oh, no. No, it will cost her a lot. Yeah, there's lawyers that'll take it at no cost, but you have to win something. Here's the thing. A court won't take on a case if they have no way of compensating you for it. What exactly has she lost? Because that becomes a monetary thing. And you can't calculate in your attorney's fees. This is the bad part about having democracy. Because that mob right up there rules. She has no way of having her concerns redressed. You think that's happening here? Just in Surprise, Arizona, look at Dalton. There's people that show up there and they're allowed to speak, but they cut the microphones and they do shenanigans all the time. Or they speak over the top of you. Oh, it's a federal crime? Good luck. Good luck. Really, seriously, good luck. See, here's the thing. That's time. Time is money. The amount of time that it takes for her to get this through the court system, get it heard by the court system, you could be looking at years, if not decades. Think about this. How many people are sitting in prison right now for January 6th that have not seen day in court? Think about it. How many of those people, some of them pled out because it's just like, at this point, I've got to do something. I've got to get home to wife, family, kids. Yeah, the city would likely settle, but how does that solve the problem? This is a growing issue. This is something that's going to get worse. This right here is just a little bitty town in Arizona.
Hands on me. Do not put your hands on me.
Come on out.
Do not put your hands on me.
Come out with me now before you get arrested.
Are you detaining me?
Yes.
Why am I being detained? Under what charges? Under what charges?
Doesn't matter.
So
Hey, I have personal property. Hold on. You cannot touch me.
yeah, she can go out there. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into E-session.
Yeah. You have to fight. You have to continuously fight. You have to continuously fight. Yes, the battle is hard. This is where it becomes like there. What is the answer to the question? I mean, that is the thing where people's rights are taken away. You'll constantly fight, but you'll constantly run into people like this. That's sort of the price that you're going to be paying for your non-compliance, your disagreement with the government. If you think that's a small thing, you think that's a small thing. Hear it from the person that wanted to be a Supreme Court judge. This guy was up to become a Supreme Court judge.
I guess as a follow-up on Scott's question, if you're sitting in these hearings with prosecutors and judges at the courthouse down the street. They're increasingly expressing concerns about the upcoming transfer of power and potential danger of another January 6th. Do you share those concerns at all?
I think our prosecutions have made clear what we think about people who try to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power, which is an essential and fundamental element of our democracy. I quibble about whether we have 1,500 or slightly less than 1,500, but we have way more than 1,400 now prosecutions. We have a substantial number of convictions. I think that's shown to everybody how seriously we take an effort to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power. The last January 6th, the coming January 6th, and every January 6th after that. I want to make clear to anybody who's thinking about interfering with that, they can see what we've done with respect to the January 6th prosecutions, and the Justice Department will continue to protect our democracy.
That point out to you where you're at, the fight that you have before you. But what good is it going to do whenever you have people like Merrick Garland? They're telling you what they plan on doing to you if you have any disagreement with your government. This is the plan that they have. This is the plan that they have. I mean, you know who this is, right? You know who this is. You saw what happened to him. Oh, you don't know who that is? Oh. That right there is Pavel Durov. He's the founder of Telegram. But you want to know the most disturbing part of what he's being charged with? Well, listen to the voice of Christmas past. McAfee. Listen to the voice of McAfee.
Good morning, John McAfee here. I am disconsolately for using Gmail as my email system. Let me explain something to you. If you think you have any privacy whatsoever with an encrypted system, whether it's an email system like Proton Mail or an encrypted messaging system like Signal, you have no fucking privacy. Encryption was designed 35 years ago to prevent a man-in-the-middle attack, meaning someone between your transmission and your receipt. There's no man in the middle anymore. We don't need them. Your fucking smartphone is the surveillance device preferred by every government on the fucking planet. Do you know how easy it is to plant malware? Go on Pornhub. If you've been on Pornhub, someone is now listening to you. All you have to do is do a drive-by of a website, and it sets the download on authorized applications flag. The first click, you now have malware that is doing two things: watching your inputs before they're encrypted and transmitting them, and reading the outputs after they are fucking encrypted, people. Encryption is a worthless piece of shit, old technology that is being marketed as a safe system. There is no safety anymore. There is no privacy. I use Gmail for one reason. The last company that requires this fucking subpoena from a government in order to give them your information. And their lawyers have 30 fucking days to review the subpoena. 30 days is enough for me. I change my fucking email every 15 days. Wake up, people. You have no more privacy. You're being sold a fucking bill of goods, which is worthless with encryption. And thank you for listening.
You rest well, Glennis. You rest well. So glad you came by. Yes. Yes. And everybody brought this up also. Everybody brought this up also.
But if you take a look at that ad, and one thing that I found striking is if you look, and I think we have the images here, there are at least 3 points in that ad that show the border wall, Donald Trump's border wall. Is it now the position of the Democrats that they favor the border wall?
Oh. Yes.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General, of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections. When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections.
From her own mouth. Although I will say this is probably one of the best ad campaigns for her right here.
All right, whoever did this, absolute hero among us. Drug traffickers for Harris, illegal aliens for Harris. We got shoplifters for Harris, gang members for Harris, sheep for Harris. That's a big one, big voter group. Socialists for Harris, sheep for Harris. Shout out Gilbert, Arizona. Someone's got their head on straight out here.
Oh, it's awesome. It's classic. It's classic. But then you hear about these things here that just show you the state of other countries.
When you look at something like this, you just really worry about how it could be used by those on the far right to stir up hatred. To look at this and say, well, here's the justification. This is why this will be jumped on by those on the far right to say, well, there's some justification to our cause, and that's concerning. And nobody, there's ISIS is a terrorist organization. This is plainly being treated as a terrorist attack, as it should be, and the police and authorities should be able to do their work and bring the perpetrator, whoever it might be, to justice. But I do, it is concerning, I think, that potentially the way, this could play out. We've seen the rise of the riots in Germany, particularly, but also in this country and across Europe as well.
Yasmin, I saw on social media earlier people saying, what did this person look like? Now, were they asking to do a public service so people keep an eye out if they are still at large? Or were they up to no good in asking that question?
No, and as Theo says, the whole riots thing and how it was instigated. And look, I'm a Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you that are into conspiracy theories, well, here's one of the biggest conspiracy theories. Do you know that every tire comes with a pre-installed GPS chip so you can be located in 5G networks? If you don't want to be tracked, you have to cut off the little antenna that sticks out. Oh, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh man. Please don't do that. Don't do that at all. That would be bad. Oh, Toy sent me something today. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Thank you, Toy, for this. This makes it. This is awesome. She said this makes me think of I made her think of this right here. Camel toe, bikini biscuit, candy hamster, deer hoof, golden arches, cat's paw, mule nose, meat drapes, dinner roll, crotch waffle, snot wallet, hole magnet, pocket pie, vertical smile, bearded clam, zipper muffin, sideways sloppy joe, the great divide, Levi lips, snatch, pants pita, mumbler, ninja foot, yo-yo smuggler, moose knuckle, sock and a flip-flop, gene eater, hang time on the monkey, rhino hoof, hanging roast beef, whisper pants, clam bite, pea flapper, beef curtains, Melvin, wagon ruts, vertical taco, knot sock, split tail, gravy dish, veggie, leather brake pads, vacuum vulva, buffalo gums, whisker biscuits, rooster jaws, beaver teeth, bologna flap over, in canoe, the big W, beetle hood, hefty cleft, folded pancake, tongue roll, fortune cookie, bearded taco, calamari crescent roll, slot pocket, and calamara, but not to be left out, the blunt front. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yes. Oh my God. There's a reason why the Taliban published vice laws that ban women's voices and bare faces in public. Afghanistan's Taliban rulers have issued a ban on women's voices and bare faces in public under new laws approved by the supreme leader in efforts to combat vice and promote virtue. Laws were issued Wednesday after they were approved by the supreme leader. A government spokesperson said the Taliban set up a ministry for the propagation of virtue and the prevention of vice after seizing power in 2021. The ministry they set out in a 114-page, 35-article document seen by the Associated Press and with the first formal declaration of vice and virtue laws in Afghanistan since the takeover. And remember, that takeover happened this day, 2021. We assure you that in this Islamic law will be a great help with the promotion of virtue and elimination of vice, the ministry spokesman said. The laws empower the ministry to be at the front line of regulating personal conduct, administering punishments like warnings or arrest if enforcers allege that an Afghan has broken laws. Article 13 relates to women. It says it's mandatory for a woman to veil her body at all times in public and that a face covering is essential to avoid temptation and tempting others. Clothing should not be thin, tight, or short. Sort of like how I like my women, thin, tight, and short. Women should veil themselves in front of all male strangers, including Muslims, and in front of all non-Muslims to avoid being corrupted. A woman's voice is deemed intimate and should not be heard singing, reciting, or reading aloud in public. It is forbidden for women to look at men they are not related to by blood or marriage, and vice versa. Article 17 bans the public images of living beings threatening an already fragile Afghan media landscape. Article 19 bans the playing of music, the transportation of solo female travelers, and the mixing of men and women who are not related to each other. The law also obliges passengers and drivers to perform prayers at designated times. According to the ministry's website, the promotion of virtue includes prayer, aligning the character and behavior of Muslims with Islamic law, encouraging women to wear hijab, and inviting people to comply with the 5 pillars of Islam. It also says the elimination of vice involves prohibiting people from doing things forbidden by Islamic law. Last month, the UN report said the ministry was contributing to a climate of fear and intimidation among Afghans through edicts and methods used to enforce them. It said the ministry's role was expanding to other areas of public life, including media monitoring and eradicating drug addiction. Given the multiple issues outlined in the report, the position expressed by the de facto authorities that this oversight will be increasing and expanding gives cause for significant concern for all Afghans, especially women and girls. The head of the Human Rights Service of the UN mission in Afghanistan, the Taliban, rejected the UN report. And just realize this is what they have in store for you. All these free Palestinian folks that are out there, this is what they want for you. To be fair, it would not be hard for the tire pressure sensor to be turned into a GPS tracker, just saying. Yeah, it would. It doesn't put out a good signal for that. Very enclosed. Oh, they've got other trackers, trust me. there's much other trackers. If you don't believe me whenever I say this, all you have to do is read Microsoft's new privacy policy coming on September 30th. Yeah, you want to know what it says? Your content. When you share your content with other people, you understand that they may be able to, on a worldwide basis, use, save, record, reproduce, broadcast, transmit, share, and display your content for the purposes that you made your content available on the services without compensating you. If you do not want others to have that ability, do not use the services to share your content. You represent and warrant that for the duration of these terms, you have and will have all the rights necessary for your content that is uploaded, stored, or shared on through the services. That collection, use, and retention of your content will not violate any law or rights of others. To the extent necessary to provide services to you and others to protect you and the services and improve Microsoft products and services, you grant Microsoft a worldwide and royalty-free intellectual property license to use your content, for example, to make copies of, retain, transmit, reformat, display, distribute, via communication tools for your content on the services. If you publish your content in areas of some of the services are supported by advertising, controls for how Microsoft personalizes advertising are available. We do not use what you say in email, chat, video calls, or voicemail, or your documents, photos, or other personal files to target advertising to you. But it is no longer your content. If you want to know what Microsoft considers not yours, well, just go down here and you get to see all of that information of what they consider the services. These services are not limited to, but are covered by that agreement that you sign. It's on any Microsoft.com account. Apps and services that include with 365, 365, 365. Anything to do with Microsoft 365. Ask Cortana. Bing apps. Dictionary, anything to do with Bing. anything that's on Clipchamp, anything that's in collections. Cortana skills by Microsoft. Cortana, default homepage and new tab page on Edge. Anything to do with Edge belongs to them. The Dev Center app, the Device Health app, Dictate, Education, Experts, Face Swap, Feedback, Intake, Forms, Forza Motorsports.net, Feedback Intake Tool, Groove Music Pass, Groove, GroupMe, Image Creator for Microsoft Designer, Lineback, Link to Windows, Maps app, Microsoft 360, any part of Microsoft 360, anything that is built by Microsoft, Mile IQ, Minecraft games, Minecraft Realms, Mixer, MSN, everything to do with MSN, including their .com, their Paint 3D, their phone link, their presentator translator, their Skype manager, all of Skype, SMS organizers, Snip Insights. So if you use that little snip tool, they own that. Those are not yours anymore. Video breakdown, Vizio Online, web translator, Windows games, apps, Windows, and anything to do with Xbox. You do not own your product anymore. And you pay them for it. You pay Microsoft, and they own the rights to distribute, use it, spread it to other people. Good morning, Mayor Dan. Good to see you. Checking in late. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, Mayor Dan, says Tracy Spencer. Yes. Anytime that you think that you own what you thought you own, you don't. It is no longer yours. It is owned by Microsoft. Every single bit of it. Anything to do with Microsoft is owned by Microsoft. You use Word, don't own it anymore. And they're not the only ones doing this. You also have Adobe that's doing the same thing. So if you use anything by Adobe product, they own the rights to disseminate it, reproduce it, and they don't owe you a single dime for it. So imagine if you're using Microsoft services, for example, if I was using Edge currently, they would be able to take my stream and hold rights to it. They could reproduce it and make it say whatever they wanted it to say, and there would be nothing that I could do about it. Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel there? Well, I know how it's being used, and just know that you're a tool, a useful tool. You are now a useful tool for Microsoft. But you want to hear something really funny? Share this with you because it gave me a smile. It really gave me a smile this morning. Cornel West cannot be on Pennsylvania's presidential ballot, a court decides. Well, why did they decide this? The Commonwealth Court Judge Renee Cohn Jubilier, on a 15-page opinion, sided with the Secretary of State's office under Governor Josh Shapiro in rejecting West's candidacy paperwork. The Secretary of State's office said West's campaign lacked the required affidavits for 14 of West's 19 presidential electors. Jubilier, a Republican, agreed with the Secretary of State's office that minor party presidential electors are to be considered candidates for the office who must file affidavits even if major party presidential electors are not. The course case is among a raft of partisan legal maneuvering around 30 party candidates as backers of Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Kamala Harris aim to derail third party candidates who might siphon away support or help others who might hurt their opponent. That right there tells you why you have a two-party system in the United States, because anybody tries to come in with a third party, and that's what they will tell you. Oh, it's siphoning votes away from the main two. It's taking our votes away. You don't have your right to choose anymore who you want to be president. You can still do a write-in candidate, but how many people do you think are going to do that? Because this election is so important. It is so much more important than the last election. Welcome to politics, people. Ballstorm, no bad. Don't make me get the newspaper and smack you. So as if not worse. Nothing new. That type of language has been there for decades. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they've made it more clear. Your politics is broken as everywhere else, being branded crisis for wanting healthy, safe lives for our kids. Or just everybody. This is the amazing part to me is whenever the Democrats are saying my body, my choice, except whenever it was a certain vaccine. You were not given that option. Oh, you were, but you were going to be ostracized, fired. Your ability to work was going to be taken away. Your ability to travel was going to be taken away. She shares all of the good news every day. I guess. I don't know about that. But yeah, there's always going to be some good news out there. It is things like this that should give you should make you really, really happy. Because guess what? Ready or not, election season in the US starts soon. I would say that it's already started, but that's not what they're talking about. Because the first ballots will go out in just 2 weeks. Does anybody see anything wrong with this here? Why would ballots be going out in 2 weeks? We should be voting on a single day. The only people that should be getting something of an absentee ballot should be people that are serving overseas as such military. But that's not what they want. It might feel like it's a long way off, but it's not. They're just over 70 days. That's a pretty good ways off. A lot can happen. Looks like we're only going to have one debate between Camel Toe and the Don. Major dates, events, and political developments will make it fly by. Think about it this way. The stretch between now and then is about as long as a summer break from school in most parts of the country. In November. Always has been. Except they want to change the rules. Why do they want to change the rules? Well, because that's what pollsters want. They like to be on top of it. Oh, and trust the AP on their election reporting. I don't trust any of them on their election reporting. In just 2 weeks, September 6th, the first mail ballots get sent to voters. The first presidential debate is set for September 10th. So why are the ballots going out before they even debate? Former President Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, is scheduled to be sentenced in his New York case on September 18th. And early in-person voting will start as soon as September 20th in some states. Here's a look at why that calendar will move quickly now that the Democrat and Republican conventions are wrapped. Who is ready to vote? Well, apparently, my grandmother and grandfather are ready to vote. They've been ready for the past, 15 years that they've been deceased. The first batch of ballots sent out, the ones usually to military and overseas voters. Under federal law, that must happen at least 40 days before an election, which is this year, September 21st. So weird that they would be waiting that long. Some states start earlier. North Carolina will begin sending mail ballots, which are different. Mail-in ballots are different than absentee ballots. Mail-in ballots are not the same thing. But they're going to be sending mail-in ballots to voters who request them. And then, of course, they say, including the military and overseas voters, but that's different. That's an absentee ballot. Mail-in ballots are different than absentee ballots, but the AP would make you think that it's the same exact thing. Voter registration deadlines vary by state, with most falling between 8 and 30 days before the election, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures. The deadline is October 7th in Georgia, one of this year's most prominent presidential backgrounds. Nearly all states offer some version of in-person voting, though the rules and dates vary considerably. In Pennsylvania, another one of the major presidential battleground states, voters can visit their local election office to request, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. This is different than an absentee ballot. That's about 3 weeks from now. Whether the Democrat or Republican presidential, vice presidential nominees debate has been a point of contention for weeks. Well, that was as soon as Camel Toe announced that she was going to be running. And she's going to do everything she can avoid having an interview or actually having a debate with Trump. Camel Toe and Trump have accepted an invitation from ABC to debate on September 10th in Philadelphia. Tim Walz and J.D. Vance have agreed to October 1st. Harris has forecasted a possible second debate. Well, that was something that Trump already set up. I don't know why they're reporting it like that, because if I'm not mistaken, that Donald Trump already said that they had 3 debates planned. There was 3 of them that were existing. And she's trying to back out of each one of them. Harris has forecasted that was something that Trump already set up. That was already agreed upon. So I don't know why AP is reporting it differently. Wedge has challenged Walz to a second debate on September 18th, and that hasn't been set because they want to see how the first one, how horribly he gets nailed to the wall. Trump is scheduled to be sentenced on 18th, though his lawyers have asked the judge to delay the proceeding till after Election Day, and I doubt the judge is going to do that. In a letter last week to Merchan, Trump's lawyers suggested that holding the sentencing is scheduled about 7 weeks before Election Day would amount to election interference. Of course it would. On September 16th, Merchan is expected to rule on Trump's request to overturn the guilty verdict and dismiss the case because of the U.S. Supreme Court's July presidential immunity ruling. And we already know Merchan is going to disagree with that. He's going to proceed as he wanted to. Trump was convicted in May on 34 counts of falsifying business records to conceal money paid to Stormy Daniels, which was a bullshit case. Had nothing to do with anything because they never proved it. That is the reason why they kept that case all hush quiet. Whenever they say hush money trial, oh my Lord. Look deep into that one and you'll see that they had to hide as much as they possibly could from the public eye. There's a lot of things out there about this one that they don't want you to see. On September 6th, the Second U.S. Court of Appeals will hear arguments in his appeal of a jury's verdict last year ordering to pay Jeannie Carroll for essay and defaming her. Trump also appealing a verdict in his second trial on defamation claims. Trump lawyers have until September 13th to file a brief in that appeal. And this is what the attacks are going to be. FIL died on 8/7 in Chicago. We're waiting to see his vote. Yeah. Yeah. I wish we could borrow Trump. Got a pig in a wig. Sorry to hear that, Lisa. Hear that. A state case in Georgia that charged Trump and 18 others in a RICO case is stalled with no chance of going to trial before the election. Well, because they've already said that it was a politically motivated reason to go after Trump. Them going after Trump in New York with Jeannie Carroll, them going after Trump on his dealings with real estate them going after Trump on Russia collusion, them going after Trump on every single thing that they've gone after Trump with is just been to cost money, to shed light on to him. And all it's done, every attack that they've done on Donald Trump, he's come out on top of it in the polls. Every time they make a ruling attacking him, it fires up his base. And he gets more and more people following. Gets more and more people supporting him every time that they do this. Because it's clear that it's politically motivated. They've brought 2 criminal cases against Trump, but one was dismissed by a judge last month, which they don't want to talk about. What was that case? That he stole documents? That he never turned over documents? That he had documents he wasn't supposed to have? They raided his home, Largo, and they lost. Jack Smith has appealed that dismissal by Judge Eileen Cannon of an indictment charging Trump with hoarding classified documents, but he didn't. He didn't obstruct the FBI's efforts to get him back. But even a federal appeals court reinstates the case and reverses the judge's ruling that Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. There is no trial taking place this year. And in light of the Supreme Court's immunity, the federal judge in Washington is now tasked with deciding which allegations in a separate case, another separate case, about overturning the 2020 election. Yeah. They have pushed people too far. Their BS meters are sounding loud. Yes. This is the problem with multiple attacks from multiple angles. If you're wondering who's going to come out ahead in all of this, every time they go on the attack against Trump, more and more people go, what is this? Because fair turns. Imagine how it would have looked. Imagine how it would have looked for Trump to arrest Hillary. Imagine how it would have looked if he would have arrested her for Burisma, arrested her for the illegal servers, the illegal email servers that she had, that she destroyed. Imagine if he had actually prosecuted her. She would have, the Democrats would have come back in full force. That's why he didn't. And also it wasn't worth going after. She burned herself politically. By the way, when is Biden going to court for that? Oh, never. During the COVID, fought the fight against being forced to jab by a college clinical site, wrote a 2-page single-space argument citing the facts of religious belief to receive medical religious exemptions. You won. Good for you. Good for you. Most of all, not court proceedings are being compromised to ruin. Wrong one. Yeah. Been left damaged and now ignored. That amazing how that works, huh? Battles over the election rules have become a staple of American democracy, but we are not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Trump installed his own leadership team at the RNC, including a director of ethical election integrity who helped try to turn over the win in 2020. But it wasn't that they were trying to overturn. All that they asked for is that they look at the votes. Look at the votes. Do a proper recount. State of Georgia, they never did a proper recount. Weird, huh? We've seen the shenanigans happening. You think that they're going to do it again? Well, what do you think they're doing the mail-in ballots for? Why do you think you're receiving mail-in ballots, or possibly not even receiving? Because it is no different. It's no different than is no different. No different at all than what I was talking about right here with her. It's the same thing. Good morning, Tom Gillis. Good morning. Putting out mail-in ballots is no different than what they did to this lady right here. It's no different. Because by the time that you're able to prove anything or do anything, it's already too late. I mean, you'll still have the fight and you can still win the fight, but you've already lost the battle. That's the problem with the mail-in ballots. You already lost the battle. The votes have already been cast, and if you disagree with it, Merrick Garland has already said what he plans on doing to you if you have any way of redressing. In the court system, they will call you an insurrectionist, leader of a coup. They'll call you everything that they possibly can. And does it matter if you get out of prison and you're found not guilty? Think about all of those people that were charged with insurrection. Oh, right. None of them have been found guilty of that. But their lives are already gone. The past 3.5 years have proven what their lives have turned into. It's almost 4 years that some of these people have been in prison without ever seeing a trial. Your government has told you exactly what they think of you. Take that for what it's worth. Vote accordingly. Or let grandma, maybe grandpa or even great grandpa probably place their vote for you. Depends on what cemetery they're in, I guess. Received one but won't fill it out. Kept it as proof I didn't, just in case. Another Act Blue debacle. Yeah, hanging on the wall. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Don't let this stuff get you down. It's only politics. It gets better. It gets better. It always does. What we've got for you tonight. I got to see if Wallstrom has actually set one up, because we're supposed to be over on Caliber Character tonight. That is where we are going to be streaming at tonight. He's got it set up. Got to see if he's got it there. I have followed too many damn people. Maybe Wallstrom could throw the link up there if he's there. Let's look. Caliber and Character. There it is. Caliber and Character. See what they have for live. Nope, he hasn't set it up yet. So what I'll do is I will give you a link to this one here. And this is where we're supposed to be tonight. Supposed to be. And paste this one in here. And this. So make sure you guys are subbed to this channel for tonight for the Derailed. That's where we're going to be. Because we're going to be on Caliber and Characters tonight. That's Wallstorm's Dictionary Divas channel. Although the Dictionary Diva won't be there, it will be MG, Wallstorm, possibly Valhalla Wait. Sometimes he doesn't respond for weeks on end. This is where we're going to be tonight. We're on that channel. make sure that you're subbed up over there. See if we can't, get that channel popping. This is going to be an absolute blast. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Tonight should be 9:30 ish, something like that. We'll just have to wait and see if Allstorm gets it all set up. Once he gets it set up, make sure you got the notification turned on, and you should receive a notification. If you don't, just come back here towards the end of the stream, and it'll be pinned up there in the comment section, and you should be able to find it from there. That's where we will be tonight. It's going to be a good time. I may do a little bit of a pre-stream. Depends on what kind of news comes out today. I'm expecting to hear very specific news today, and if what I think is going to come out today comes out, then I will probably do a quick stream before that and boost it out there a little bit more. But everyone, I'm not educating you at all. Trust me, Tracy. I'm an idiot. Don't ever believe anything that I say. I do this for entertainment purposes only. I am a moron. I am not politically savvy nor smart in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a goofball that likes to get on the internet and talk crap. All I do. And have fun doing it. Because you guys are awesome. And I found that I like hanging out with people in the mornings. But speaking of today, what's really beautiful is I was supposed to go to court today. I was supposed to be a jurist. Is that correct? Yeah, but what happened is they allow us here in the state of Georgia to do not show up if your number isn't called, and mine, fortunately for me, was not called. So I don't have to worry about it. I've got no worries there whatsoever. It's not going to happen. I don't have to be there. But everybody have a wonderful day. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys over to Baker. I'm not sure who all is streaming currently. I'm sure that somebody out there knows who all is streaming. I think Baker's supposed to start at 11:30. Sometimes Mo does one in the morning, but I think ours have been colliding like right over the top of each other. So we're not able to do that. I think it's Radix streaming. No, that's not that she could be doing that. Because you guys ought to go check out Radix Verum. It's pretty good, and she's pretty solid, But looks like Nick is scheduled. So I'll send you guys over to see Nick Starro. That's where we're gonna be sending you guys until tonight. Everybody have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way in. Hit the like button on the way out too. It helps the algorithm, so they try to push our stuff a little bit up in the feed. We enjoy being able to get that interaction with you fine folks. And until then, you guys have a good day, and I will see you this evening. Peace, y'all.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.